Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Just before we get into the video, if you could do me a big favour and hit like and please hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content. There's going to be more videos of my projects coming up soon. We've got lots of modifications in the future for the i30N. We've got repairs and other little tricky bits going on with the Volvo, and we've got some repairs coming on with the Corsa. But not just that, I've also got some other projects that I want to end up doing as the future goes on. So please hit like, please hit subscribe, which will help this channel out, and these projects will be coming out on YouTube. So no further ado, let's get into this video. So this video is all about my 1987 Lotus Excel. Well, I say mine, unfortunately it is no longer mine, but I'll get to that as we go through the video. So this car has got a lot of sentimental value, even though it has now gone, because it came into my family when I was 4 years old. From the age of 4, whenever I used to go over to my dad's house, all I ended up used to doing is grabbing the car keys, running out to the road, jumping in the driver's seat and wishing that I was actually driving it. And then as the years sort of progressed, I used to keep badgering my dad, I just want to drive it and I want to drive it. And then lo and behold, it got to 2004 during the winter time and my dad ended up putting it into the garage, which I call car jail, and it never left. Because it got towards winter, the problem was with the Lotus Excel, as it is an old car and as it's a sports car, it used to take a little while to warm up. So my dad used to get cold on the way to work, so he ended up selling it and buying a newer car, which was a Ford Ka of all cars. And unfortunately it never left. So it sat there for 17 years until I got hold of it. I think it was just over 2 years ago. And my dad ended up giving me a phone call while I was at work and just said, I need to make room in the garage, do you want the Lotus? And as you can imagine, a kid of 4 years old that's always wanted this car, always wanted to drive it, always wanted to get out in it, I jumped at the chance. So that weekend I ended up contacting someone I know who's moved cars for me in the past to come down to where my dad lives, and we got it out of the garage. For the first time in 17 years, that car actually saw daylight.
So as you can see guys, it was absolutely filthy when we got it out, and it was a real sight of sore eyes to see it, but it was also quite hard to actually see it in that sort of state, because it was it needed a lot of work. And like you say, it gave me a bit of an idea. If you look at the front as well, I loved the sort of like the stance it had. But as you can imagine, as soon as I got it back on the driveway, first thing I had to do was give that a bloody good clean.
"18 years of dirt finally coming off." 18 years. It's the legal age to drink, for Christ's sake. That's not seen daylight for 18 years. Yeah. March 2004 was the last time it came out of a garage. Yeah.
So after the clean, I ended up thinking, right, what does the car need? So I ended up writing a list of all the different stuff, like a lot of people do when they're about to do a restoration or any sort of job like that. So the first thing I ended up doing was obviously jacking up the front, putting it on axle stands, and I should completely strip down the front. So it literally had, from looking at all the front, which you'll see photos in a second, the front springs were snapped, hence why it was a low stance at the front.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.
And ended up changing all the bushes on the front, ended up changing all the brake calipers, got all reconditioned, pipes, you name it, the front got all changed.
With the cold hard hatred, I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it.
same with everything on the back. And the thing is with these sort of British cars, especially sports cars, as a lot of you will know, is they are all mix and match of all other makes. So the thing is, with a car like this, you had to find the donor cars. So otherwise, if you go to Lotus like I had to with a lot of other things, you pay through the nose just for the brand.
Welcome to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring.
So if you can end up finding what the donor cars are, you'll save yourself a lot of money. So we ended up finally getting towards the point of doing the cam belt, which I ended up finding the help of Gary from Watford Exotics. Absolutely top man, really nice guy. He specialises in Lotuses. He's absolutely fantastic at what he does, and also got a help from a friend of mine called Stuart, who has also got a Lotus XL or British Racing Green, and we ended up doing the cam belt.
I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face, and I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way, so I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay.
It was the first turn of the key which he fired up.
Contact.
Can't believe 17 years. Come on, girl. You know you want it.
You thought it was going to be that easy, didn't you? No, not at all. So it ended up cranking over and we couldn't get a spark, which we ended up finding out it was just a loose wire attached to the distributor cap. So we ended up fitting the wire, turned the key, and yes, she fired up.
Oh, yeah, baby. Come on, sweetheart.
You've got a chance, you've got a chance.
Nope, still, you thought it was going to be easy. Not a chance. So she's been sat for 17 years. She's going to be a bit stubborn. So in the end, we actually found the problem was this time was as she's been sat for so long and the car's got carburetors, as it's been sat, they've just literally sunk in and stopped where they were. The valves were stuck. So luckily, we had the idea of pulling the choke out, which lifted the valves, and lo and behold, finally, yes, she fired up for the first time. So as you can see guys, finally, for the first time in 17 years, she's running, and I tell you what, I was absolutely over the moon. So thanks to Gary and Stuart for helping me out with that. And the next point of view from there was obviously rebuilding the brakes, putting the brakes back on with new wheel bearings, putting them on, and then starting at the back. Now the back was actually kind of worse than the front because I did get new I basically sandblasted the rear springs because they were still in good condition, so I ended up having them powder coated, but trying to change the suspension on the back because there's all shocks all round were absolutely knackered, so I had to change them about. But the issue was trying to get the bolt out the back of the rear suspension on that, so it was an absolute nightmare. It took me probably about 2 days with a lot of WD-40 and a lot of elbow grease and a lot of blood, sweat and tears is probably the best way of putting it to get them out. But finally they were out. I sent my wheels off to get powder coated, put new rubber on them. I made a mistake of choosing a colour which I thought was supposed to be the colour I wanted, but ended up turning out to be this. Instead, as soon as I had that done, I was like, right, okay, that's not good enough. So I went for a bit of it's sort of a Marmite type thing. You either like it or you don't. Now I wanted to try something a bit different, so I chose these. Now I I thought they came out alright. Some people didn't like them, some people did. The thing is with the Lotus Excel, a lot of people prefer to go for the normal standard, which is the silver. So I chose something to do a little bit differently. At the end of the day, I liked it. And once I got to that point, she was on the, well, she was all running, all the wheels were on, all the brakes were done. So I had to do it. I just had to give it a drive. So yeah, I just had to do it. But no, as you see, I did not do it on the road because one, the brakes aren't bedded in, and she wasn't taxed or MOT'd, so I could only do that. So that was the first little drive. Very excited for me. I know a lot of people are thinking, what are you doing? But at the end of the day, it's the first time I've ever touched in being able to be behind the wheel and actually drive it. So now at this point, I got in contact with the chap who ended up recovering it for me back to my house, and I got it sent over to Gary at Watford Exotics just to finish off the last little bits, which we're doing the rebuilding the carbs, changing a few vacuum hoses. He did have to also do a downpipe and full exhaust system as well, which was supposed to be a good second-hand one, which turned out not to be. The place that I bought it from was very poor, to say the least. But when we actually sorted it all out, we made it absolutely good. And it went for an MOT. Now, it went through its MOT and didn't have one single advisory, and I'm absolutely so impressed and shocked by this. And the good thing is when it was actually, when the carbs and everything were done, we actually ended up getting it, got the timing done, didn't even need to touch it. It was still running absolutely sweet as a nut on its standard timing from when it was from 17 years ago. So then finally, Gary gives me that call and says, you can come pick it up. So I jumped at the chance, took half a day at work, and I shot over to Watford, and I ended up picking it up. And I just had to, whenever I was that little kid at 4 years old, and my dad used to drive me around in the Lotus, he used to always have James Brown Sex Machine going on in it. So all the way back, I had to listen to that for the full hour and a half it took me to get home. It was just on constant repeat. And then, lo and behold, I came home.
She ran so well all the way back. Oh.
So yeah, now this is cutting towards the end of the bit now. Just to let you all know, I drove the car then at this point for a year, put it through another MOT, so it was all MOT worthy again. The issue is like I say, mechanically the car was perfect. The problem was it was the bodywork. So as she's been sat for so long, as you can imagine, the whole car is fiberglass. So it didn't sort of, like, as they call spider web, any issues with the fiberglass. It was just literally the lacquer had come off. And if I'd known little bits that I do know now, I would potentially have wrapped it. And this is the car that has started off all these ideas of making this channel, starting to do modifications and making filming, doing videos of doing how to, but obviously fixes and things like that. So it's because of that and the amount of fun I had with it, and also seeing some of the YouTubers that do this for your cars, it's just given me that inspiration of starting my own channel. So thank you very much for that. I really love the fact of doing this Lotus. I hope you enjoy this video. But unfortunately, due to how much it was going to cost me over 10,000 to get this car resprayed. So in the end, I did put it up for sale. A really nice chap came down who bought it, and he's going to treat it right. It's gone to a very good home, and he's got the money to be able to do it. And I think he's got a little bit of mechanical know-how of how to do painting and things like that. So I know it's gone to a good home. I know it's going to be put back on the road, and I know it's going to be looked after. So it went to a very good home, so I'm pleased. And like I say, that car has led to this channel, to all these modification videos, to doing things with my i30, and to do things to the Volvo, and to do things for all these other projects that I've got planned for this channel. So thanks very much for that. I really hope you enjoy this video, guys. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. See you later, guys. Ta-da.